So, welcome everyone. My name is Braco Pobric, a #1 best-selling author on Amazon with book Habits and Happiness in applied psychology, happiness, and self-help. And today I have truly great guest, my great friend, a positive psychologist, author of the latest book, The Science of Happiness, 30 Proven Techniques to Live a Happier Life. Manuel Kraus, who is from Austria, my good old Europe, and now lives in London. So welcome, Manuel.
Thank you. Welcome. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Braco.
Thank you so much. Thanks for joining me. I know you just arrived from back from home from Austria, yes. In London, and you must be probably a little tired. And I appreciate you taking time to talk to me.
Yes, I'm very fit and ready to talk to you, and I'm glad to.
Awesome. So just a quickly little bit, and then you can tell us a little more. Manuel Kraus is the founder of Good Life Foundation. And that's an organization seeking to empower individuals and communities really across the world to live happy and fulfilled life. Exactly. I know Manuel is really big on applying in what we call interventions in psychology. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit later on, about techniques that Manuel wrote in his latest book. And he's also certainly the expert in positive psychology, who received the Master of Applied Positive Psychology, I believe, from University of East London.
Exactly.
One of the first people to get that. So what we'll do today, Manuel, if it's okay with you, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to focus on some of the habits, because that's something that I really like to hear from other folks, from my colleagues, positive psychologists. What do they do? What do they think? We're going to focus a little bit on happiness. And then we're also going to kind of cross over our work and see what did we do. Although we did independently, after reading your book, I realized that we did not only applied certain tools that are well-known techniques, but also our own in a very kind of similar way. So I was pleased to see that. So how about this, Manuel? So tell me, what did get you started in the positive psychology? How did this get your interest, and how did you get started?
I've always been interested in what I would say is personal development. Yeah. I'm interested on what makes life worth living, and also I was looking for what would be my unique way to contribute to that. And that what brought me then eventually to positive psychology. Yeah, I've looked at loads of things. I'm really interested in lots of things that are going on when it comes to happiness, personal development, and as well peace. Yeah, because I think that's what's really important for me. As to help create a society that's living in peace and where people are equal. And I think happiness is something that everybody is interested in, and that's our common interest in a way. And that's why I decided that this is how I want to contribute, and it feels good for me and others as well.
Yeah, that's so great. And it's really just by looking at you, and I can tell how passionate you about it, how you truly, and you and I had some real discussion, how truly you want to make a difference in the world and help other people. And that's what life is all about. And it's, I think I said the other day to you, it's so cool to see individuals like yourself, young people who realize that at early stage. I really did not. It took me a while. This is not what I was doing when I was your age. So
yeah,
you gotta be proud of yourself.
Well, no, I consider myself to be lucky in a way. Yeah, that I for some reason already discovered what I want to do with my life in a way that I think that is sustainable. I'm not gonna change this all too much. And yeah, so I'm lucky in this regard very much.
Good for you. I do want to tell you that luck also comes with hard work. So I know hard work. So Manuel, what is your favorite technique that you use, and possibly that you teach other people as well?
My favorite technique when it comes to, it's definitely mindfulness. Especially when I look at how much time I spend on it. Yeah, I meditate every day, I try to live as mindful as possible, eat mindfully, to brush my teeth mindfully. It's really a way of life, and it's not even a technique. It's really a way of life. It's more than a technique, and that's one. And I would like to say another one, I think, and that's physical activity, because it's such a brilliant positive psychology intervention. And I do it also almost every day. I mean, I cycle a lot. I just love it. And this combination of exercising the body and exercising the mind, it worked very well for me. And it's something that I also recommend to the people that I work with.
That's so wonderful. And you're right, it is not really technique. I think what I did is kind of went by your book, but you're right, it's really a way of life. And I'll come back to mindfulness and brushing teeth in a moment. Because what I was doing is that when I was reading your book, I found, as I said earlier, a lot of things that you do and recommend in your book, and kind of that I also do and recommend in my work. So, and I have 4 things that I chose, and you please feel free to choose anything else. But the first one was 3 good things. So basically, I love that tool. I was doing it for like a couple of years every night. And what I would do is I would just make it, I made a little form. I made a very little space so that I can do it in a minute or 2. It was next to my bed. The pen was on top of it, or so on. So I love the tool. Tell me how you do it and how do you suggest your clients do it?
Very, very similar. Yeah. So I personally, what I do every night is I reflect on my day, plan my next day, and I sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. I like some variation, but I like the 3 good things. It's such a brilliant and easy to do exercise. It's not.
By the way, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I didn't really explain. Would you explain to people what these 3 good things are?
Oh, of course, yeah. I think the basic goal is of this exercise is to help you focus more on the positive, and it works like this. You sit down for 5 minutes and you reflect on your day. You do it in the evening. You reflect on your day and you think about good things that happened. And you are supposed to write down at least 3. So it can be small things, can be like somebody smiled at you. Like today in the plane, there was a woman sitting next to me. She sneezed. I said, bless you. And we were just smiling at each other. And it was a nice, a little moment, and it can be something like this. But can also be something big, like you get, I don't know, a great mark on an exam or something. It doesn't really matter what it is. Just reflect on your day, find something good, write it down. That's the first step. And the second step then is ask yourself, okay, what was my role? How did I contribute to that? In my case, I said bless you when she sneezed, and that's how this whole like little situation came about. So and by asking this question to ourselves, we more and more see how we contribute to our own happiness and how we have the choice in almost every moment, really. Yeah. And this creates a mental habit, because we're talking about habits, that is very positive, that helps us focus more on the positive. There's so much positive around us, so it's a lovely exercise. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, what I want to say is I usually do it very similar to you. I like to write it down, but I see that not everybody likes to write. Yeah? Not everybody likes writing exercises. A brilliant way to do it, I think, is to have share it with a partner, or a close friend, or maybe with your children. Yeah, to take just a few minutes. It's wonderful. You not only share this exercise, you share positive emotion, and you also build a relationship. I like this also a lot.
Yeah, so that's so great. And I think what else it does is, when you do it just like before you go to sleep, well, one way of doing it, right? It really puts you in a good mood, because usually what we do is before we go to sleep, we think of all the bad things that happened that day. And when we focus on good stuff, hopefully it will help us even have a better sleep.
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks. So the next thing we have kind of crossover is practicing gratitude. And why don't you tell me a little bit about what that exercise is all about? How do you do it? How do you recommend people do that?
the gratitude exercise is in a way similar to the 3 good things, and you can do it in like all kinds of different ways. Gratitude is a wonderful way to bring some more appreciation to the things that we in our life that we usually take for granted. And you can do it really in any way you want. What I really like to do is after I meditated, I sit quite quietly and I reflect a little bit, and I reflect on like whatever comes to my mind, and I think about how brilliant this thing or relationship or situation or whatever actually is. And most of the time it is. Like if you take a bird's eye view on these situations or things, that you quickly notice that every little thing has this extraordinary quality to it, yeah. And that's what makes gratitude so special, because usually we overlook these things, yeah. But gratitude, it really helps us to tap into these things that we all already have. Yeah, there's no need to work towards anything when it comes to gratitude. Yeah, you already can be grateful for loads of things in your life. For life itself, you can be grateful. So, well, it's brilliant.
I think it's so wonderful. I remember in your book, you talked about how grateful you are for your bed, how great bed you have, and you realize that when you go somewhere else. So that's really what counts, the little things. I actually do one of the crazy gratitude exercise, and I do it when I take a shower. And I go in the shower and I'll just yell and scream, I'm grateful for, great dinner that my wife made last night. And I'm grateful for, 5 minutes talk with my son. One day our son was here. He said, "What are you yelling? Are you okay?" I had to explain the gratitude exercise to him. But it truly puts us in not only in a better mood, but it also helps us truly to appreciate the good stuff. And as Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar said, as we appreciate the good appreciates.
It's lovely. So it's a lovely way to say it. There's another wonderful way to take a spin on this gratitude exercise, but not only thinking, okay, what am I grateful for, but thinking about, for example, the bed, my bed. Me thinking, what would I do without it? How bad would life be without this wonderful bed? I mean, I would have to sleep on the ground, but I don't have to, because I have the bed, and that's another way to approach gratitude. It's wonderful. I love this way.
And you know what? When we start talking about it, that brings you thoughts and ideas. I just had a sip of water, and I was thinking that, back in the days, my country and some other countries went to war. They had no drinking water easily accessible like you and I do now. Yeah. So, I mean, little things that makes you, feel good about what we have. And not just thinking what we don't. Okay. The other thing we kind of both talk about, and I think this is really interesting. You touched base on mindfulness, and there's so much we can say about it. So before we go into details, I would like you to explain what mindfulness is all about. How do you practice it? And then at some point, I definitely want to talk about brushing teeth. So let's talk about mindfulness.
We have to talk about brushing teeth. Well, what mindfulness is, I usually go with John Kabat-Zinn's definition. That's a great way to approach it. He basically says mindfulness is a particular way of paying attention. It's paying attention on the present moment, and non-judgmentally, and on the present moment on purpose. That's the third thing. Anyway, so basically, in different words, mindfulness is about experiencing the present moment as it is, without judging it, and that's really what makes it powerful. Because, as I said, it's a way of life. That's a way you can live your life. You don't have to say this is good, this is bad. You don't have to always think about the future and about the past, what happened, what could be happening. No, you always have the present moment to live in. Yeah? We only actually have the present moment to live in. Yeah, and that's that's what I like so much about mindfulness, that you can't really explain it though. Like, you really have to experience it, and then you will realize how powerful it is.
Right. So a couple of ways that we can be mindful, and we can also connect this to meditation. As sometimes people talk about meditation, and it's such a complicated subject, and people think that you sit down and you don't think of anything, and your brain just stop. No, really, because our mind goes back and forth all the time anyway. But you also talk about way of being mindfulness. So while you're driving the car, while you having eating a food, while you're brushing the teeth, while you're having a food, usually what I'll do is I'll think of, I'll have a piece of food, and I'll just think of, where did this come from? Who picked up this piece of fruit? Who delivered it? How did it came to supermarket? Who put the price tag?
Yeah.
Who was the cashier? I mean, all these little things, it's amazing. You create this story, and as you practice it, right, as it just helps you more and more to live this moment. Because as you said, that's all we have. Past is gone. There's no future yet.
Exactly.
Right? So tell us, how do you practice mindfulness while brushing your teeth, and what do you recommend to your folks, to your clients?
Yes. What it basically is paying attention to all the sensations and all the feelings and thoughts that are coming up while you're brushing your teeth. Like what I used to do, I was brushing my teeth and then watching TV while doing it, or walking around the house and doing anything. Yeah, that's exactly the opposite. Yeah. What brushing teeth mindfully basically means is you pay attention to the texture of the toothpaste and to the movement and how your hand feels and how your feet feel on the ground and how the toothpaste tastes. Yeah? It doesn't have to be good. It's not about like saying, "Oh, it's so wonderful." No, it's just about saying, "This is the moment," and I try to experience it.
That's so wonderful. What I do is I try that. Well, I did some other exercises with brushing with non-dominant hand to improve my willpower, but that's a different story. And but with the mindfulness, I tried. I keep forgetting. And what I did is I put the little sign. It says meditate, and just put the picture of me brushing my teeth right in front of me, like by the cabinet. So when I look at the mirror, I see that picture immediately, and it just reminds me to be mindful while I'm brushing my teeth. So
that's an absolutely brilliant way to build a habit, isn't it? Yeah. The reason why I started doing mindful brushing my teeth, was just that it came naturally to me. It was an easy way to incorporate mindfulness in my life, and so for other people that may be different. Maybe mindful cooking comes more naturally, or mindful eating, or any other way to be mindful. And so I think we don't have to focus, say, "Oh, I have to be mindful about this." If you don't, especially if you're starting to practice mindfulness, it's all about not judging yourself. Don't try to force yourself. Do, especially at the beginning, what comes naturally.
Yeah. You know what? I also realized that you mentioned eating mindfully. But I realized after I went through the 8 weeks John Kabat-Zinn program, that ever since, and it's just getting better and better, I am eating so much slower. Like, my wife will finish the dinner. I'm like, there another 30 minutes. It's just, even breakfast, when I have a time, I eat it much slower. I enjoy every bite of it. And it just, that's what life is all about, right? Not just, it just reminds me, there was years ago, and I forgot the details, there was a radio commercial. And it says, if you brush your teeth and you watch TV and you have your breakfast and you read your paper at the same time, you must be a New Yorker. And 20-something years ago, I was proud of it. I was like, I do all of that at the same time, right? But today, I know that was so wrong. And that's why I was so stressed out, because I was doing 10 things at the same time. This will also help us to reduce stress, certainly.
Yeah, it's a nice side effect. It's not like it's lots of people start mindfulness to reduce stress. Like you mentioned, John Kabat-Zinn program. It's mindfulness-based stress reduction. But actually, it's just a side effect. Like it has so many. You mentioned there's so many benefits. And that's also why I mentioned it as my favorite, one of my favorite positive psychology interventions.
I love you. Absolutely right. It is just side effect. So now the idea wasn't to eat less or to eat slower or to be, you're absolutely right. And there are so many side effects. That's really amazing. And we also know that we are going to become such a more productive individuals if we do mindfully one thing at a time based on the research, right?
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, you mentioned brushing your teeth with the other hand. Yeah, that's also a way to be more mindful. Yeah, and it's also a way to build willpower. I mean, these things they all go hand in hand, and that's fascinating, and that's also it's brilliant. It's a brilliant thing to do because you're not working on only one thing. Yeah, you have a plethora of benefits that come with it.
Yeah, you know what? Now that we said this a couple of times, I just want to, for the benefits of audience, explain as you just said. So say if you do, one of the things to do is to brush your teeth with non-dominant hand or eat with non-dominant hand, right?
Yeah.
And I would say I know we have so many back and forth, and how many does it really days take? How long does it take to create a habit? Research used to say 21 days. I would say minimum 30. You say it's maybe 90. We all different. And I would say, it's at least 30 days, but it's 30 days in a row. You're not going to do this 5 days, skip 4, and then do 3 more, and then add all these numbers. No. So if you skip one, start from the beginning, right? To create a habit. And that with non-dominant hand, as you just said, we know based on the research that will improve your willpower. So if you want to improve your willpower, one of the habits to create is brush your teeth with non-dominant hand and use Manuel's great technique and then do it mindfully. So there we go. You combine everything.
Yeah, I think that's one more thing I definitely have to mention, right? Because of course the main technique or way to practice mindfulness is meditation, and that's what people usually struggle with when they it's a tough habit to get into, to meditate, because it's so different than what we used to. So what works for me and what I usually tell people is to start with with just 2 or 3 minutes, because if you can't, for example, there is in the book Search Inside Yourself, the author Ming, he talks about if you can't do it, take just one mindful breath. And I thought that's actually a brilliant recommendation because you're not you still are on the streak, but yeah. So you don't have this, now I have to go back to the beginning. If you give yourself the permission, if you just do one mindful breath, that's also okay. Yeah. So I love this recommendation. It's really good.
Great point. I mean, in order to establish any habit, we want to take baby steps. So you want to start from a minute. None of the if you tell yourself I want to start meditating 20 minutes a day every day and you never meditated, you're gonna fail. It's almost guaranteed.
Exactly.
But start small with anything that you want to establish.
Yeah.
Cool. So there's so much more to talk about mindfulness, but let's move to move to one more technique. So far and again, as you say, way of life, and I'm keep going to technique just because of the 30 proven techniques to live a happier life. Subtitle of your book, The Science of Happiness, which is really great read, and I highly recommend everyone to go and pick it up on Amazon. It truly is. And what's really amazing about it, and it's that there is so much science behind it. There is so much personal experience, and yet it is written in such a simple way. And this is what people looking to have today. Some of us, like you and myself, we're going to do and read a ton of research papers. We love doing that, but not everybody does. They want, give me one page. What do I do? How do I, improve my happiness? Just give me a paragraph. Tell me what to do. And that's what you established in your book. So it's really, really great read.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do throughout my work. Almost nobody likes to read research on a regular basis in order to then apply it. It's a long way to go, and I would love to be this bridge. As are you. So yeah.
Only crazy people like you and me will read 100 pages of research to come up with one paragraph to recommend people what to do, right?
Yeah, so it seems.
Only crazy people like two of us. So we covered three good things. We covered practicing gratitude. We covered mindfulness, and I want to cover at least one more thing, and that is a random act of kindness. That I call it unexpected kindness. So it's basically, you know what? I'm gonna let you explain in your view. What is random act of kindness? What do you recommend people to do?
It's the easiest thing to do. It's just being nice without a reason. I would say, because kindness is such a powerful emotion. We not only if we stop looking only at our own happiness and try to expand our interest, and if we start being interested in other people's happiness, and then Braco would say, then it's only when we can experience real happiness, true meaning in our lives. And random acts of kindness are a great way to do that, because one way is you take a day, any day, and say, okay, today I'm doing at least 5 or at least 7 or whatever number you want, randomly kind gestures to people around me. That can be something like paying for someone's coffee at the Starbucks, like the person next to you, behind you in the queue, you say, oh, I'm going to pay for his coffee. And you will see, like, people are very pleasantly surprised. Some people are suspicious, and then when they see you have really truly good intentions, then it's even better, like, to see their you're turning someone's day around in a way, yeah, and you're turning your own day around, really. And so all kinds of, like, just as with the 3 good things, can be small or a bit large gestures, yeah. Can be something like bringing flowers to your spouse, or like you are to be creative here, yeah. There's so many ways to be nice.
That is really such a great thing to do, and I think we know what research shows, that it's not only it's going to make people happy that you're doing this rant of kindness for, but it's going to make you happy and improve your own well-being.
Yeah.
So even from a selfish perspective, if you want to become happier, do these random acts of kindness.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't even stop there. Like, there's other research showing that even if people watching you doing somebody else a random act of kindness, it also affects them. Yeah, and sometimes it even inspires them to do it themselves. So there's a ripple effect here. Yeah, and there's a potential exponential spreading of this kindness.
Correct. I was doing this, thinking of mirror neuroning and how people will just do what they see other people do.
Like, the happiness kindness brings is not only restricted to the giver and the receiver. Like, there's research showing that even people just watching a random act of kindness become happier, and they might get inspired. Yeah, so you can see some like streaks where people receive like a random act of kindness, but then reciprocate the next person, and then this continues, and then you can see something like 70 people in a row at a Starbucks paying for somebody else's coffee. Everybody's happier. They paid the same, yeah. And these things do happen. Sometimes they do happen, and that's what's really absolutely brilliant about kindness. Yeah, it ripples.
That's so great, and I think what we should do, and people understanding, studying, and just listening to all these great tools and habits that we can implement in our life to improve our happiness, just give it a shot. I'll give you 2 examples. One was recent. I was on a PATH train in New Jersey, just leaving work, and there are a lot of tourists just basically stay on that side of the across the river, if you will. So it's only one stop to Manhattan. There's a Hyatt hotel. And so I just came, it's just, you have a card, you just kind of go to the PATH train. And I see there was a group of people behind me that they just couldn't figure out how to get the tickets. It does get complicated for the tourists. Yeah. And I just pulled out my card, swiped it a couple of times. and stuff like this, they didn't know what the heck was going on. And I just left. I mean, that's really the idea, because it wasn't about me to see what's going on or to get thank you note. It was about doing unexpected kindness and just leaving. And I left, and I just kind of just put my eye a little bit just to see. And I just saw such a smile and happiness, and they couldn't believe what happened, right? Mm-hmm. Didn't really give them a chance to say anything, because that's not what unexpected kindness is all about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the thank you note. So that was really cool. And then a couple of weeks ago, I was in Florida with my son and my wife, and we were in a supermarket paying, and there was a lady in front of us. When she saw us, we were just about to pay, and she pulls out some of these like special coupons. Wasn't this cut off from paper, but something that's $5 if you spend 30. And she goes to me, I think you guys spend more than 30. Here's a $5. I was like, wow. And then we started talking about unexpected kindness. And what you do next, you help someone else. So, I mean, it is a ripple effect. It's cool stuff. That's so great.
It is.
So I know we don't have a lot more time, but, what's the final word, recommendation? I know, you also do a lot of, teaching in workshops, writing the books, doing the Udemy programs, the online training. And I know you also want to implement try to use technology to help people use happiness. What's the final recommendation? Some quick thing or few things that people can do to just really become more happy and improve their well-being? What habits they can implement?
Yeah, I think like you mentioned technology, and I'm a very big proponent that technology is often like you see people talking about Facebook that it hinders like social connection and so on. Yeah, but technology can just as much like be conducive to our happiness, and that's what I'm interested in. That's I think a perfect final recommendation. There are apps out there, like if you want to start meditating, there's Headspace, for example. Yeah, like. Technology that's designed to help you build a habit, and that's what you really want. I mean, that. Or there's for example a gratitude journal. That's an iOS app that helps you like do the 3 good things exercise or a similar gratitude exercise. Like there is stuff out there, and I would say use it. It can help. It's a great way. It's designed to help us become happier. Yeah. So there's something to that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think especially for younger generation, like yourself, technology is certainly what people, that's how they live today. I want to say that's how we live, but some of the older people may or may not use some of these technology tools. And I also want to say that you also have a number of great links in your book that points to a number of applications and apps for the iPhones and so on that people can use. And then I think, for the other generation that they don't want to use much technology, just pick up a couple of advices that Manuel and I just gave you and just implement it. It's pretty simple. You don't need technology for that, do you?
No, no, it's just a tool that can help, but there's tons of other ways. And I think it's good to keep it simple, especially at the beginning. Yeah, try what works, and you will find something. Yeah, I'm sure there's some things fit for everyone. Yeah, so go for that.
That's awesome. Hey, Manuel, thank you so much. It was such an honor talking to you. I know that the audience will just pick up so much out of this, and if they implement just one thing that you told them to do, I know that they will become happier.
Yes. Research says they will. So
research, and you and I trust research. But the good thing is that we also, in addition to trusting research, we try and implement all these tools before we teach anyone else.
Yeah.
So we know what works. On the slide, you'll see the information how you can reach out to Manuel, and also some of the information of his programs, online programs that he's teaching, about his book, and also you'll see how you can reach out to me as well. So, hey, again, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure, honor, my friend, and look forward to see you soon.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Take care, buddy. Thanks. Bye-bye.